Intellectual but classical, practical and factual. Arduinotronic, Arduinotronic, harmonic, ionic, bionic, atomic.
I've had a number of people who've asked me to do a video about farming. Well, not farming as you know it. For various reasons I'm going to have to use some euphemisms in this video, and so here's some information about it. So there's been a huge upsurge in the prosecution of farmers over the last few years. And why has this been? And why are farmers so very prevalent anyway? It seems everywhere in the world you look there are farming communities. Everywhere in the world you look there are cover-ups. And many of these people are at the very highest echelons of society. So why is this? How did this all come about? So to set the scene, let me take you back to the days of the mafia. In the 1930s, 40s and 50s, the mafia gained a huge stranglehold on American life. They controlled politicians, they controlled the police, they controlled the whole country, it seemed at times, until they finally did a clean-up operation. And the mafia, the way they recruited was quite simple. In order to become what they called a made man, you would actually have to perform some sort of dastardly illegal act, a murder or two, and your boss would have to be given the proof that you had committed it. Now of course what this meant is if in the future you went against the mafia, then the boss could turn around and he could arrange for a certain firearm to be found at your house by the police, and very soon you would find yourself in deadly trouble. So that was how the mafia worked. But how does this relate to the deep state? Well, it's exactly the same system. Now you might say to yourself that, well, not everyone is a farmer. How come we've got all these farmers popping up all over the world? And some of them you would absolutely swear, at least in their early days as a politician, as a lawyer, as a cop, were very, very moralistic people. So how does this happen? How does the deep state get their hooks into these people? And the answer is a very special type of coffee from South America, and here's some details on that. Now this coffee has a very unusual effect. When you're given even just a small amount of it, you lose all your willpower. It contains various psychotropic drugs, and it really does almost turn you into a zombie. The reason why I say almost is that you appear completely normal. You walk about, you talk, you hold conversations. The only difference is when anybody suggests that you do something, you will do it. And this is obviously very dangerous. Now, you can imagine the sort of situations that a nasty, evil, horrible deep state person could put someone into using this coffee. And the worst thing possibly about it is, like many other drugs of the same type, you don't remember what has happened from the time you were given the drug until the time the effect wears off. So let's take a very simple example of what could happen. You are a young police sergeant somewhere in any country of the world, and you're invited to a party. And this isn't just any old party. The mayor of your town's going to be there, several other important politicians, some celebrities. So of course you agree, and off you go. And on the night of the party, a young lady comes up to you, and she's got a flower in the top of her dress, and she says to you, look, smell this flower, isn't it wonderful? And you smell the flower, and 15 minutes later you feel slightly dizzy, and then you can't remember anything. And in the meantime, someone has come up to you and said, look, if you go through that door there, and I want you to go through it right now, then there is a room at the end of the passageway on the right. Here's a key, you can open up that room. Here is something for you to use, and they hand him whatever it is they want to use, and we want you just to go wild in there, to do whatever you want. It doesn't matter, you're perfectly safe, you can do whatever you want, and nothing will ever happen to you, no one will ever know, and then come back out here and see us. So off he goes, he does whatever he's been told to do and whatever is suggested by the implement that he's been given, and unknown to him, of course, that room is chock full of hidden cameras. and he goes home and the drug's worn off and he wakes up and he can't remember a damn thing. He just thinks, oh, I must have had a really good time, got very drunk, I can't remember what happened. 3 or 4 months later, someone comes up to him and says, look, come over here, I want... Now, it's entirely possible that these investigations in the United States into farming could bring down the British monarchy, and I don't say this lightly. And the reason why is that for decades upon decades there have been cover-ups in the UK about the involvement of various senior people, various royals even, in farming. And farming is such a disgusting subject, people don't want to talk about it, so it's relatively easy to sweep it under the rug. And if you don't believe me how far this actual problem has got and how high in society it goes, I suggest that you watch a video that's on YouTube on a different channel, and here's some information about that. So while we're talking about the deep state, let me just point out that the UK is the only country that has actually been proven to tamper in the US election. Not Russia, not the Ukraine, the UK. And this might tell you how deep state goes within Britain, how high up it goes, and so we need to do something about it. What we need really is a British Q. So that's all for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please like, share and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you again for another video next week. Thank you very much.